Hey, what's up YouTube? This is the Alchemic coming at you today with our Journey to Un'Goro card review. I'm going to be doing this into 4 parts as I usually do. First 3 classes, Druid, Hunter, Mage, followed by a Paladin, Priest, Rogue, I believe, and then Shaman, Warlock, Warrior, and then Neutrals. So, very excited for this. Let's jump right into it. We have a first Tortollan Forager, 2 mana, 2/2, that has Battlecry, add a random minion with 5 or more attack to your hand. So, immediately, we have what this is based around the Druid quest, which we'll see in a moment, but it revolves around 5 attack minions, and this card will give you a random 5 attack minion. Stats are not that great, but the thing is, a large variety of high attack minions will be big cost, big dudes like Deathwing and stuff. Obviously, the chances of getting something that will actually be helpful will be very minimal, but it does help in the quest, which is what you need it to really do. Overall, I don't think this will see constructed play, because if you're going to play minions with 5 attack, you're going to play the ones that you want. You don't want to get Magma Ragers and stuff like that. And that is a very real possibility in this case. So I don't think this card will be too great. But my arena rating, it will be alright. It'll be doable. As a 2-drop, it's not, obviously stats are not preferable. If it was a 3/2, it would be sick. But it does have potential in arena to be picked. I would pick this card. Next up card, we have Elder Longneck. We have a Magma Rager stats, that's a beast. It says if you're holding a minion with 5 or more attack, adapt. So we got like that dragon holding mechanic again. You obviously want to choose the most defensive option for this, so like a shield, a divine shield type of thing. Maybe +3 health, that would be great. That would be amazing actually. But really, like, this card is just very easy to beat. That's why Magma Rager is not played, If Magma Rager was played, it would just certainly, game would be entirely different. But this should be able, if you're playing the Quest Druid deck, you should be able to get this quite consistently. Although a lot of Druid's cards are choose ones and stuff where the stats change, but this has a possibility if the deck is consistent enough. Very unlikely though, because just Magma Rager stats, and you really want to really assess the card. Is it going to be played with other cards in the set? And then also, can you live off a top deck with this? And if you're top decking this, then you're probably not going to be playing. Jade Druids are already very happy the way they are, so only if there's really a reason to play it. We have a 5 mana 5/4 beast, Verdant Longneck, which has Battlecry adapt. So this is a very easy card to assess. I think adapt seems to be worth about half to one mana, I guess, and really depends on what you get. It will definitely be above average. I think it's above average. Definitely a card that is considered, 5 mana, and then if you get a, +3 health, that would be sick. Plus 5 mana, 5/7, you'd play that. That's undercosted cards, that's what you want. +1/+1 would be alright. Divine Shield be pretty good as well. But yeah, so adaptions will be able to be used. So if you don't know what adapt is, you can go ahead and check the link below, and that has all the keywords from this new set. Anyway, so this card will probably not see constructed play either, though it does hit that 5 attack mark, and it's a good minion, but I think the meta is just too fast for this to be able to see any play. So very unlikely, but it's just a good card. In arena, you definitely want to pick this. And by the way, I just wanted to go back. Elder Longneck, you would not pick because it's a 5/1, and arena decks are not known to be the most consistent of things. Earthen Scales. You give a minion +1/+1, then gain armor equal to its attack. So this is obviously targeting the 5 mana cards, or the 5 attack cards. So you'd give it +1/+1 and then gain armor Ideally, it's a 1 mana heal a bunch, and that's what they're trying to go for with this. Problem is, in a top deck situation, like I said, this card is just really bad. Because unless you're playing some kind of aggro druid, where you can very easily ensure that you have minions. But first of all, if you're playing an aggro druid, you're probably playing very low attack minions, and then second, you don't want armor. You want to hit face if you're playing aggro druids. So armor won't really help in this case. So I don't think this will see play at all. It's very situational, and it's just not that good. Next up, we have Evolving Spores. It's a 4 mana, adapt your minions. I don't think this will be played either. It's very, adapt is, designed to not be, like a discover mechanic, and that's what people liked. But I think this is just, this forces you to have a board. If you already have board advantage, you should probably be winning anyway. So, this is more like a win more card. The reason why Bloodlust was pushed back a little bit, I think I see this card a lot like Bloodlust, where it's a sort of win more card in the sense where if you already have board control, it's only a matter of turns before your opponent loses. And I feel like this card, though, is very much like Bloodlust because it will help you against control. It's sort of like a burst damage card. If you get +3 attack, that'd be sick. Savage Roar type of thing. But Savage Roar is not played because Jade Druid is already very strong. And I could see this as a one of, maybe, but really, I'm really hesitant to say that. But it's, it's just not, it doesn't represent any value. If you top deck it in a top deck situation, you don't like this card because it does nothing. So I think this is very unlikely to see play. In Arena, you won't play this card because, like I said, yeah, I don't think so for sure because it doesn't develop the board, and Arena is all about the board. So it's a win more card. We have Shell Shifter. It's a 4 mana 3/3 which transform into a 5/3 with stealth or a 3/5 with taunt, and both of which are beasts. Both cases are alright. They push the aggro druid. I'll just go ahead and show you those cards. This is the stealth, and this is the taunt. So this is basically Sinjin Shieldmaster, and here's if you play Fandral, then you get both of them. So of course that's very good value. I think this is average card, above average, definitely better than Verdant Longneck. It has the ability to become a 5/3 for your quest, ideally, if you're in the lead, or become a Sinjin Shieldmaster in case your opponent is playing an aggro deck. So that's good. That's definitely pertaining to the flexibility of Druid. So I definitely think it helps in that sense. So I think you're definitely playing this if you're playing the quest deck because it lets you, because you like I said, you get to choose one. But it's a strong card, just a good card. It's kind of like Druid of the Claw. I think Druid of the Claw will still be better in this case, but this definitely has potential, I would say. But yeah, so stealth will help you with your stuff and with your setting up for like Mark of Yashiraj type of plays. Which remember, all dinosaurs and everything, they're all beasts, so they all work. And yeah, so this is a above average card. I think so far one of the best cards we've seen. Just a very flexible, strong card. In Arena, you definitely pick this. This card is very strong in Arena because it has just the flexibility. Like Druid of the Claw is one of the top common picks in Arena because it's just so flexible and such a good card. So that's for sure. Anyway, Fandral, its combination is quite strong. Stealth and Taunt don't quite go together, but it would be a 4 mana 5/5, so that's what you care about. Living Mana. Transform your mana crystals into 2/2 minions and recover the mana when you die. So if you didn't know, this quite literally takes your mana crystals out of the bar and puts them as 2/2 minions that have a death rattle. And a lot of people were memeing about Vanish being a meta card and Mass Dispel being a legitimately played card, but that's sort of the same reason why Pirates are still strong. Pirates are strong even though there are cards like Maelstrom Portal that are printed, even though, and you'll see later in the other segments, there are cards that are specifically printed to counter Pirates. Acidic Swamp Ooze, Harrison Jones exists. All these cards exist. Bloodsail Corsair, even that has synergy with patches. all these cards are printed and pirates are still very strong. And the reason for that is because you can't consistently draw well against pirates. Pirates are the aggressor. The deck is designed to get really aggressive starts. So I would evaluate the same thing with Living Mana. I feel like Living Mana in this case is like pirates in the previous analogy, right? If you're gonna play Living Mana, it's good against aggro. It does set up a board for you, and so you have that. But the thing is your opponent really gonna keep? Are they really gonna keep play Vanish in their deck unless they're playing some sort of Mill Rogue, which still exists after Gang Up is put back into Wild? Are they really still gonna play Vanish? Are they still playing whatever? Mass Dispel. Like, people are not going to play it just because of this card. This card's not that insane. It's good in the right situation, so Raven Idol can really provide you with some help. But I feel like just you're not going to get Mass Dispelled. You're not going to get Vanished at all. Don't expect that at all. And I think it does have potential to double Savage Roar on top. You just win the game. It's a very YOLO card, for sure. So it's strong in that sense, but it can be very fun. In Arena, you're not gonna really play it. Well, you could, because it does put a bunch of tokens on the board. However, you're just very vulnerable to AoE. If your opponent doesn't develop minions, well, sure, you have 10/10 on this board. That's that's pretty good, but you can't develop anything unless you run in the creatures. So that's kind of important. But yeah, so this card's not that great, but it looks like a fun card. We have, let's skip one? Okay. Giant Anaconda, which is a 7 mana 5/3, summon a minion from your hand with 5 or more attack. At first glance, this card seems very overpriced. 7 mana 5/3 is very bad for stats. And Death Rattle is very strong, but you kind of want to, cheat this out. Innervate is good, but you really just want to put stats on the board, I assume. This will also go towards the quest, but this is just not that great because, Void Caller was so strong because it was a 3/4 for 4, which is just one less than like a Senjin or something, and +1/+1 less than a Chillwind Yeti. But maybe you could play this in like Astral type of Druid, where if you have like Deathwing in hand, that would just be really sick. But I don't think like Void Caller is just really good because you could have life tap to draw into cards, and Druid doesn't have that. Druid has a lot of draw, but just not as great as life tap. Life tap is just pure consistency and just better. So yeah, in that case, this card could have some fun shenanigans, but I don't see it in any constructed play other than fun decks. It is a beast, just that worth being noted. In Arena, you won't pick this card because it's very bad. It's not very strong on the board. Here is the Druid quest, Jungle Giants. You summon 5 minions with 5 or more attack, which summon, not play, which basically means that's how Giant Anaconda works, stuff like that, and you get Barnabas. So once again, if you don't know what the quest is, there's a video link in the description. Barnabas is Barnabas the Stomper, a dinosaur, 5 mana 8/8. Reduce the cost of all minions in your deck to 0. So all those huge attack minions you've been playing will now hit 0 cost, and you can play them for free. This card's quite insane. I'm not sure. We're evaluating these two cards together. Definitely the reward is very strong. And then, of course, Gadgets and Shenanigans will be really, really cool to do like OTK deck with Jungle Giants. But I feel like J-Druid just stronger, obviously. J-Druid is faster, beats better late game. This Barnabas does let you play a bunch of minions on the same turn. Like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series type of thing. Did you just summon a bunch of monsters in one turn? That type of thing. But especially because pirates are basically untouched with Finley rotating out. That's the only card. And I feel like Pirates are still strong even after seeing the whole expansion so far. This quest is just too slow, I feel like. And the effect is really cool. Kun Mali Druid is really sick, but, I feel like that deck just dies to Pirates, and this will not help it. So, yeah. So, it's a really cool card. In a slower meta, it would be really fun to see. And we have Tyrantus, which is the Druid regular legendary. It is a 10 mana 12/12 that can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. Very strong card. I love it. Definitely going to craft this for my Astral Druid deck to play in Wild. But it's just not good enough for Constructed. I mean, unless you can really consistently draw Giant Anaconda, Innervate, and then get this guy out. Like, that's really the only possible way. I do like this card a lot, though. So, for Wild, I guess. Next up, we're moving into Hunter. We have Jeweled Macaw, 1 mana, 1/1, Battlecry, add a random beast to your hand. They reprinted Web Spinner, basically. Not much else to say. This is going in every deck, just because, like, Babbling Book, Swashbuckler, those cards always go in every deck. Any card, they're doing all these 1 mana draw cards, and that's not really good for the game. And Raynad made a video about how it, reduces counterplay and stuff like that. Anyway, you can check out that video. A link is also in the description. But yeah, this card's going in every deck, basically. Super strong, obviously. Not much else to say. We already saw Swashbuckler, we already saw Babbling Book. This card's going in every deck. Next we have Crackling Razor Maw, 2 mana 3/2, adapt a friendly beast from Battlecry. So you play Alley Cat on turn 1, then you play this guy, and you're good to go. Not much else to say. Good 2-drop. Starts the snowballing potential of Hunter. That's kind of how Hunter wins, is you just play big things on curve, and you just hope that they beat out your opponent's things. Right now, problem I see is Pirates. Like I said, Pirates is actually virtually untouched, and this is a legitimate concern, because there are no cards in this set, I feel like, that are good enough to outpace Pirates. Because the Pirates can have a 1 mana card that equips a 1/3 weapon, summons 2 1/1s, one of which has charge, and you have 2 immediate face damage, So, but this card follows up your 1-drop ideally. If not, worst case scenario, you just do it on some other beast, and you can hopefully find some good stuff. But it's good enough to play on your own. People are playing Huge Toad back in the Call of the Wild Hunter days. And so this card's definitely worth playing if Huge Toad is worth playing. So next we have Grievous Bite, 2 mana spell that deals 2 damage to a minion and 1 to each adjacent ones. I do like the adjacency mechanic. That's good. It's counterplay, something that players have control of. It's almost like a mini swipe. That's what they compared to it on stream, and I feel like it's actually good because it's almost like an Eviscerate. In a sense that it deals 4 damage, but it requires your opponent to be really playing around it. And that might be good. You can punish players who are not doing well. But I don't know about this one, because you kind of want to remove just big things, and this is really good against like token decks, so like Paladin, other hunters, but not so much. And Hunter doesn't have great removal aside from Eaglehorn Bow, and Eaglehorn Bow is kind of a worst case scenario. Hunter's not doing well. This is not really going to help it. I do like how it encourages stuff in adjacency, but I don't think this is going to see play. In Arena, it's pretty good. Forgot to review the previous cards in Arena. You can't really play quests in Arena. So yeah, okay. So yeah, that's not happening. This you might play. This could be a win condition for sure. You draft this every time. That's why Babbling Book is so good. You draft this, like, this is a snap pick. This is also quite a snap pick. I think almost a snap pick if you can draft a lot of beasts. And this you maybe. I'm not sure about that. Next we have Raptor Hatchling, which is a 1 mana 2/1. Death Rattle Shovel a 4/3 Raptor into your deck. This card is... It will definitely help the Hunter quest, which we'll see later. But a 4/3 Raptor also costs 1 mana, and I'll show it to you right now. Raptor Patriarch. And this will help, like I said, help the snowball the effect. Because it's only a 1 mana 4/3, I think Blizzard really likes the idea of like Forgotten Torch type of thing, where it shuffles a card into your deck. That's just you get somewhat like meh value at the beginning, and then you get much higher value towards the end. Now, whether or not a 1-mana 4/3 is good, we'll have to see, because you have to draw it later. But the fact that this one card can handle 2 of your X quests, we'll see the quest later. Like I said, I think this is good in Arena. This is all right. I think this will really help. You know, but it's just not as good as Forgotten Torch. I think Forgotten Torch is just better. In terms of like, you know, the shuffling mechanic. But yeah, you know, as a 1-drop, it's all right. Alley Cat, Fiery Bat are probably still better, but this will definitely go in the 100 quest deck. So that's for sure. So yeah, there we have it. We have a 3-mana 3/3 Terror Scale Stalker, which Battlecry trigger a friendly minion's Death Rattle. This is basically Princess Huhuran in 3-mana 3-cost form. And I feel like this is a very interesting trend because, as we'll see, there are a lot of cards that are filling this idea of taking the spot of another legendary, basically doing almost the same thing. It really depends, I guess, on what Death Rattle minion you set up. So, you know, kindly grandmother type of things. That's the first one I can think of. Haunted Creepers in Wild. I mean, like Hungry Toad or Hungry Toad? But yeah, whatever that one is. I forget. Oh, no, that's LOE. Shoot. Yeah, that's right. I forgot. Huge Toad. That's right. But yeah, it really depends on what Death Rattles there are. But yeah, that's completely evaluated on that. Stats are not that great, but it really, if you can follow a good Death Rattle with this, that'd be sick. If you can get a Death Rattle off Barnes, maybe, then you play this, that'd be pretty good. But yeah, so this is alright. In Arena, it's just a 3-mana 3/3, I feel like. Maybe you'll get lucky with it, I'm not sure. We have Tol'vir Warden, a 5-mana 3/5, which draws 2 1-cost minions from your deck. This will help you in the quest, like I said, where it draws cards, gives you 1-cost minions, that's what you want. 5-mana 3/5 is just very slow. You know, you'd rather play Stranglethorn Tiger, I feel like. If you're playing the quest deck, I think you're going to be playing a lot of draw power, not this, because you want to complete the quest by like turn 5, so you can slam the Queen Carnassa, which we'll see once again later. So this card I feel like is just too slow for it. But you know, 5-mana 3/5, draw 2 cards is not that bad. But when they're 1-cost minions and it's turn 5, you're kind of not very happy about that. So that's it. Stampede. Whenever you play a beast this turn, add a random beast to your hand. This is another lock and load type of card. I don't know what to say about it. Lock and Load wasn't that great. It was kind of cool. It was fun. Yogg and Load. This just doesn't have the same effect, I feel like. And because Starving Buzzard is a 5-mana card, you know, I don't think this is playable. In Arena, you're not playing this card because you can't guarantee that you're getting beasts. I mean, they're playing Hunters, so there's a higher chance, but still. And then we have Dinomancy, which is Dinomancy? I don't know, whatever. 2 mana, your hero power becomes give a beast +2/+2. I feel like this could be, if Hunter can, this is once again more like control-ish Hunter, where very strong hero power for sure nonetheless, and it's really about Haunted Creeper types of cards where if you can get creatures to stick, you know, Rat Pack is very strong. With this card, it's a very good combo. This will help like a zoo type of hunter where you're trying to make good trades. But the thing is, it costs 2 mana to invest in it and then 4 mana to get the first buff. But once you start snowballing this can get really out of control. And the fact that it's usable any turn that you have something on the board, but that's also its weakness. The fact that you have to have something on the board. And I don't know if that's really possible to maintain, especially because pirates are just very strong. So I feel like that's my reasoning for a lot of cards, and it's just true. So this is a very fun card. I feel like in Arena you don't pick this unless you can consistently get beasts. And finally we have the Marsh Queen. the quest, you play 7 1-cost minions, and you get Queen Carnassa, what is Queen Carnassa? A 5 mana 8/8, which summons 15 raptors into your deck. And what are the raptors? Well, Carnassa's Brood is 1 mana 3/2s that draw a card on a battle cry. So it's a Novice Engineer, but it's a 3/2. So you can effectively play this card. You play a bunch of 1-costs, you try and finish it early, play this on turn 5 ideally, or turn 6, worst case scenario. And then you play Carnassa's Brood and you keep just spamming them. And I think that's the idea, where the queen comes out, right? And then the servants start walking in slowly. Or quickly, because if you play Carnassa onto an empty board, then you draw Carnassa's Brood, and ideally, since you have 15 1-cost 3/2s, you can just draw through your whole deck and play at least 6 of them onto the board. So very strong reward. 7 1-cost minions shouldn't be that hard to do, I feel like. Hunters just, aggro stats. There are a lot of 1-cost minions already. Argent Squire is worth playing for this quest, They're just good 1-cost minions. If you really need to, you can play defensive ones like the Mistress of Mixtures and stuff. So I think this is a very viable Hunter quest. I think it may have the potential to be very strong. I think it has the potential to make Hunter better. Because the quests are all about just burst stuff. I feel like most of them, at least, aside from Warlock, most of them are all just about putting stuff out all at once. So you have the Druid one, which makes all your minions cost 0. So then you play a free Gadgeton Auctioneer, you draw a million cards, right? And then you slam all the minions down, maybe Malygos OTK type of thing. This one's about playing the 5 mana 8/8, and then next turn play 6 3/2s, and draw through your deck. So it's quite strong. And it's all about just slamming a bunch of stuff onto the board and then just telling your opponent to go. So I feel like though this one, because it spawns so many minions, Brawl, it's very weak to Brawl, very weak to 2 damage AoE, but 5 mana 8/8s are quite good. So I don't know, we'll have to see. Underpriced stats, obviously, because it's a quest, very specific. And then the Hunter Legendary is Swamp King Dread, 7 mana 9/9. These dinosaurs are quite overstated. Swamp King Dread, after your opponent plays a minion, attack it. So this card basically attacks minions on your opponent's turn. Let's say they play an Acolyte of Pain. Bam! Swamp King Dread attacks him immediately. That does not trigger secrets because that's on your opponent's turn. So it just kind of goes like that. This card really... It gets around taunts, that's for sure. And your opponent, it does encourage counterplay, which is good. But I don't know if turn 7 is... I know that turn 7, if this follows Highmane, you're just sick. You're awesome. But this is a totally different type of Hunter. And I'm not sure if this really has the, because pirates. So, but yeah, most cards are going to die to a 9 attack damage, with the exception of Ancient of War. I'm sorry. But yeah, so strong legendary. Not sure if it can play this format, but it's good. Definitely pick this in Arena. Yeah, so this one definitely. I'm not sure if quests are offered in Arena, so I don't think I really judge it. But you're probably not playing this card unless you really have an insane curve. It's like 1 in a million. Alright, finally we have Mage, which is the last part for this episode. We have a 2 mana 2/3 Arcanologist, which Battlecry, draw a secret from your deck. So it's like Mad Scientist, except it's a Battlecry and it has 1 extra health, and instead of playing it, it just adds it to your hand. So this is good because on turn 2 you get to add a random secret to your hand. And then play it on turn 3 because that's the cost of secrets. And if you can Kirin Tor Mage into a secret, then you're getting some pretty good tempo. But I don't know if secret mages just don't have any good incentive to play secrets. There's a Thing from Below type of card, which is quite fast. But I feel like if you're playing a mage secret, you're playing Reno Mage type of deck, right? or you're playing Freeze Mage. But obviously those decks will not exist with the rotations of Reno Jackson and Ice Lance. But I don't know. Is the Cabal Crystal Runner or whatever that one is worth really worth playing for secrets? I mean, Secret Mage was kind of like a meme deck, a troll deck, but you know, I don't know. Has the potential. It really depends on the viability of secrets, and on secrets is not the focus of the Mage Quest, so that's kind of a big deal. But yeah, so in Arena, this card is just a 2/3. If you get a secret, sure, that's kind of cool. Ideally, Mirror Entity, you know, that type of thing. So, unlikely. Let's just get a sip of water. Alright, cool. We have Flame Geyser, which is a 2-mana, deal 2 damage and add a 1/2 elemental to your hand. So at first, this card is not very good because it's only a 2-mana, deal 2 damage, and sure, it adds a 1/2 elemental to your hand, which does set you up for other plays, and that's what the idea of elementals are, where elementals, you play them out, and then during the turn after you play an elemental, you get elemental reward cards, almost like dragons, where it's like reversed. So if you played one during the previous turn, you get a reward for that. This cheap ones do help. You kind of fit them into your mana curve, and that's kind of cool. But this is, I think, just 2 damage for 2 mana is very weak, you know. But I guess it can't be priced at 1 because that'd be broken, and 2 is just kind of expensive. In Arena, this card's not very good unless you have a really insane elemental draft deck, which is very unlikely. So this is probably not being played in Arena. So that's the elemental, just a 1-mana 1/2. So Goldstar Footman's not played, so I don't expect more. We have Shimmering Tempest, a 2-mana 2/1 elemental with Death Rattle. Add a random mage spell to your hand. First of all, I think this card most compares to Undercity Huckster, but it has 1 health, and that's actually a pretty insane difference. 50% loss is a lot. Undercity Huckster is just very strong, very solid card, but this one, I would say, just because it can get pinged off and hero powered down, makes it much weaker. I don't know if the elemental tag really does much. We'll have to see whether elementals are strong with mage, but it does let you. It is a reverse Babbling Book in the sense, and I think you will play this. But the thing is, Babbling Book is just does the job better because not only is a battle cry, so you get it on earlier. You get it as soon as you play the card. Babbling Book costs half as much, and just this one you get +1 attack and change it into a Death Rattle. So really, it's evaluating whether 1 attack and an elemental tag is worth Babbling Book, and the Death Rattle. Death Rattle is significantly worse. So we'll have to see. But it's another card to run for the Mage Quest, which we'll jump into later. We have Mana Bind, a 3-mana spell, a 3-mana secret that says when your opponent casts a spell, add a copy to your hand that costs 0. So add a copy of that spell. So let's say your opponent tries to Pyroblast you in the face. Sure, they get that Pyroblast happens, but you get a 0-mana Pyroblast. Now, it's just more spells to play around, I guess, for secrets. More things to play around in secrets. And I don't know. Counterspell, I think, was the comparison to this card, which is slightly better, in my opinion, for sure. But it does let you get combos. Flamewaker is rotating, with Blackrock Mountain leaving, which basically means the 0-mana spell won't be as helpful. You still got Mana Worms, you still have Sorcerer's Apprentice for the Tempo Mage deck, but I'm not sure if this will really help it. Because, you don't want to hit stuff like Coin. That kind of sucks. You get basically a 3-mana spell that gives you a coin. Like, you don't want that. In Arena, you don't play this card. In Arena, you don't play that card either, because it can get pinged off. Oh, maybe you do. We'll have to see. Yeah, this one you don't. Alright, we got Molten Reflection. It choose a friendly minion and summon a copy of it. So first thing I think of is like Faceless Manipulator. Very similar to Faceless Manipulator, only that it can only target your own minions. So, you know, I really just think it comes down to whether Faceless Manipulator meta is a thing. Do you just play Faceless Manipulator in your deck just cause? Because you get 1 mana off if you can, 1 mana discount if you just target your own dudes. But Faceless is just a very more flexible card because you can target your opponent things. And unless there's some wombo combos, like if you target your own, like, Karen Bloodhoof or something like that, or if there's some OTK charge combo, which is obviously not happening. But this I feel like this only limits what Blizzard can do in the future in terms of card design. That would be it. I'm not sure if you pick this in Arena. It's like a 4 mana, if you have a 7/7, right? You play this, you get a 4 mana 7/7. So that's not bad. And we have Steam Surger. 4 mana 5/4 elemental. Battlecry, if you played an elemental last turn, add a Flame Geyser to your hand. So it's also an elemental itself, right? Flame Geyser, I told you, wasn't very good. Aggressively statted, I like it. Goblin Blast Mage stats is good. Tomb Pillager, that type of stats is very good. But it doesn't... I just think Flame Geyser is weak. Flame Geyser, might help the fact that you can reload on elementals, so then you'll be able to sneak elementals before you're about to slam your big ones. But it really depends on how strong elementals are. So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. I don't think this will see playing constructed. There are just better elementals to play. And, yeah, so... in Arena, you will pick this card because it's alright for 4 mana. I definitely think Chillwind Yeti's better, but this is alright. We have a Primordial Glyph. Primordial Glyph, I guess. Discover a spell, reduce its cost by 2. So you're basically getting a random spell, a random mage spell, for a 2 mana discount, which will let you fit it into other turns. So you basically pay 2 mana now, and then get 2 mana discount later. It's a lot like Unstable Portal, except it's much less random, and the discount is just 1 mana less. The discount's not quite a big deal, but the fact that it's more access to other spells is good. Can give you multiple copies of something you want to play in an Arena deck, maybe, or a Kazakus deck, I guess now. This is very playable. I can see it. Control Mage will be pretty strong. Tempo Mage, maybe. Tempo type mage, mid-range tempo-based mages. So this card's quite good. I like it. In Arena, you will pick this because you can get some mage AoEs. And, it's a Discover, so it's flexible. So, flexibility is very strong in Hearthstone. We have a 6 mana Meteor. Deal 15 damage to a minion and 3 damage to adjacent ones. 15 damage is pretty overkill. So you're basically getting a 5 mana Assassinate plus 1 mana deal 3 damage to 2 minions. So a 1 mana multi-shot, somewhat. Pseudo multi-shot. Yeah, 15 damage is overkill. Well, that's kind of goes with the flavor of the card. Meteor, which just completely obliterates dinosaurs. But this card's good removal, I guess. Definitely priced well. The card is worth what you pay for. The mana cost is worth the result, but it just really depends on whether the meta is good enough to play Meteor. I think this does get rid of a lot of the polymorph targets, so you might play this in the same way you would play like a Kazakus Mage or a Highlander Mage. So this card's alright. In Arena, this card's okay. It's almost like do you draft Cone of Cold type of thing. Here is Open the Waygate, which is the mage spell, or the mage quest, which casts 6 spells that didn't start in your deck, and you get Time Warp. Well, what is Time Warp? Well, 5 mana, take an extra turn. Take an extra turn. which basically means draw a card, do another thing, basically skip your opponent's turn. The thing is, it requires you to cast 6 spells that didn't start in your deck. So we have Babbling Book, we have the 2-cost Elemental Dude, we have Kabbalist Tome, and we have Primordial Glyph, this card. Only thing is, can you do this consistently, you know? Babbling Book can give you Shatter, which really sucks, you know? And I'm just really going to use Babbling Book because that's, you know, that's the MVP card of the World Championship. Babbling Book can give you Shatter. Babbling Book can give you unplayable cards, or like Freezing Potion. But it can also give you Flame Strikes, and it can also give you Pyroblast, right? So this is very random. Your ability to complete this quest, unlike the other quests, is completely reliant on RNG. It's basically all RNG. You can almost never control the outcome of what spells you're going to cast, so you can't control how fast you're going to get this. And Time Warp is also very dependent on timing. So ideally you want to get it to your hand as quick as possible so that you know when you want to skip your opponent's turn. Ideally before turn 10, because then they're losing out on mana and you get a ramp advantage in some cases. But it's just very inconsistent because random spells range in cost. And I think that just kind of goes for this. Very cool, very fun card, but I don't know if it will really be playable. And finally we have Pyros, the Mage Legendary, which is a 2-mana 2/2 with Death Rattle. Return this as a 6/6 that costs 6, and it is 6/6 that costs 6, Elemental. Death Rattle, return this card as a 10/10 that costs 10, and there's the 10/10 that costs 10. All forms of Pyros are elementals, so that helps. Originally when people saw this card, people were like, oh, well that's cool, it has an elemental tag, and that's wonderful. Now, moving on. Well, now we can see that elementals can be quite strong because they're all about prepping the turn before in order to play the turn after. So unlike Dragon decks where you have to wait until you have, where you have to wait until you have a dragon in your hand to play them and get immediate results, you have to play your elementals onto the board and then hope that you draw an elemental activator, or you already have one in your hand, let's say, and then you'll be able to play that after. So in this sense, it's a bit better than dragons, but dragons can, you know, coin Alexstrasza's champion type of thing. And yeah, so about this card though, I think it does help elemental decks. I don't know, I think the Mage Legendary could have been swapped, and that's what a lot of people are saying. But it's cool design. People wanted it to be when it hits the 10/10, it should be reborn. It should give you back to the 2/2 that costs 2. But yeah, so this Death Rattle could have gone with the Priest one because it's a Death Rattle and it gives you 4 minions, or 2 Death Rattles and 3 minions. So if it's just like infinite cycles, that would be really cool. Or you can just complete your Death Rattle quest, your Priest Death Rattle quest, with 1 card. But yeah, it's cool design, but I'm not quite sure about it for Mage. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to check the other parts of this card review, which I'll be recording soon and uploading all together. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video. See ya.